This external growth basically is talking about something called integration. Integration simply means to join together. And now, from the firm's point of view, business integration takes the form of takeover or a merger. ठीक है? Now, the different types of integrations that you have. Types of integration. So, first you have something called horizontal integration. Horizontal integration. So, to explain horizontal integration, we say that two firms merges or takeover happens when the two firms are at the same industry and same stage of production. That's a horizontal integration. Same industry and same stage of production. For example, it's like a Reebok manufacturing takes over Adidas manufacturing. ठीक है, दोनों मैन्युफैक्चरिंग है और सेम स्टेज के ऊपर है. ठीक है. अ टी प्लांटेशन टेक्स ओवर अनदर टी प्लांटेशन. हॉरिजॉन्टल इंटीग्रेशन. इसके ऑब्वियस कुछ एडवांटेजेस कुछ डिसएडवांटेजेस भी होते हैं. हॉरिजॉन्टल का इंटीग्रेशन के कुछ एडवांटेजेस वुड बी विद व्हाट यू शुड बी अवेयर ऑफ. द एडवांटेजेस ऑफ हॉरिजॉन्टल इंटीग्रेशन इज number one, you reduce competition. You reduce competition. Number two, profits rise because now you have profits of both firms, the one that you've taken over and your own. Number three, you have a larger market share now. You have more dominance in the market, right? And at the same time, your image and branding grows in size. Quite good advantages there. But at the same time, you have some disadvantages. Disadvantages could be too large to control effectively. Number two, you can go through something called diseconomies of scale. Diseconomies of scale is that when the business becomes too large, the average cost, I'll write the whole thing, average cost rises. Now, this average cost rise could be because of miscommunication, miscoordination, labor demotivation, etc. Then another type of integration is basically vertical integrations. Vertical integrations. अब वर्टिकल इंटीग्रेशंस में दो किस्म की होती हैं. एक जिसको हम बैकवर्ड इंटीग्रेशन कहते हैं. So vertical backward integration is when a merger takes place in the same industry but earlier stage of production. An example could be that a Reebok shoe manufacturer takes over a shoe leather supplier. Now, this shoe leather supplier might be supplying to other competition also, for example, Nike or Adidas. So, if you are going after your supplier, there are some advantages. Advantage number one is that since now you have bought the supplier, you can control the quality of the raw material, because now you run it yourself. Not only that, but you even control the supply of raw material to competition. Because if that company was selling to other competition also, so now you have control. In fact, your profit margins will rise because earlier that company was keeping a profit and selling the product to you. Now either you can reduce the cost or you can keep that profit with you, and then you can sell that at a higher price to somebody else, and again for you the profits will definitely rise. So these are some of the major advantages that you get from vertical backward. It's about the quality of your raw material, it's about the supply of raw material to competition, it's about the profit margins that will rise for you. But when you go back and you try to get your supplier, obviously there is a business is becoming large, so एक diseconomies of scale का problem तो है, because you're going to get large and then there's going to be like miscommunication. So diseconomies is that when your scale of the business goes up, your average cost also rises as a result of this. And average cost rising ke number two, it is a possibility that the company may lack expertise to run the operation, and that may cause losses. Then we have vertical forward integration. Now, as far as vertical forward goes, Obviously, by definition, we say it's the same industry but a later stage of production. Okay, it's like a tea manufacturer purchases or takes over a tea shop or something like this, or a tea shop chain of tea shops basically. So in that way, because obviously tea shops purchases tea from their tea manufacturers, right? Now tea manufacturers going after tea shops and they purchase those tea shops and now they run it. So obviously it's a later stage that they're going after. अगर कोई टी प्लांटेशन टी मैन्युफैक्चरिंग खरीद लेता है, फॉर एग्जांपल देयर इज अ टी plantation and they go after like let's say Tapal tea or Supreme tea or something like this, तो ये भी vertical forward है. ठीक है, so different whatever stage you're at, if you go after who purchases your customer, uh, that's a vertical forward. So when you go after your customer, one thing is your profit margins will increase. ठीक है, बिकॉज जो रिटेलर्स के मार्जिन्स होंगे वो अब आपको मिलेगा. एंड माइंड यू, रिटेलर्स कीप अ वेरी लार्ज प्रॉफिट मार्जिन. सो नाउ you, after becoming a retailer, you get to keep more of that. Companies become more aware of customers and trends in the market. What is customer buying? How are their spending patterns are changing? And that obviously information can help you plan your production as well, and it gives you flexibility to change if the trends are changing. So that's a big advantage that you get, as a retailer. The disadvantages, of course, it's the same diseconomies of scale. Larger business, when the size goes up, your average cost tends to go up with it. So that's a big drawback of buying. फिर उसके बाद again, one of the disadvantages could be that there could be like lack of expertise. To run it, because you were good with manufacturing but you don't know how to sell, you don't know how to market, and so if you don't have a plan for it, definitely it's not going to work in the favor. Now the last integration that comes in your course is called a conglomerate integration. So basically conglomerate is when you take over completely different industry. It's like going for diversification. For example, you're in food industry and all of a sudden you decide you want to go into like clothing industry. You have no background whatsoever in it. Sometimes you go in it through joint venture or something, right? So example would be like tea plantation takes over shoe manufacturing. no link whatsoever between them. ठीक है? Advantages for something like a conglomerate would be that, you know, you will get diversification, and then you will get some advantages of diversification. That means you can have some image building because you're into so many different things, right? And that will definitely increase the reputation. In fact, that will even allow you to go global. Okay, so quite a few advantages over here. उसके अलावा डाइवर्सिफिकेशन के और क्या एडवांटेजेस होते हैं? फॉर एग्जांपल, इफ सर्टेन इंडस्ट्रीज डोंट वर्क, अदर इंडस्ट्रीज, you know, we could say like more profit from other businesses, ठीक है, and reduces risk, your dependency on just one kind of firm. It definitely does that. But on the other hand, you have quite a lot of disadvantages, जिसके अंदर एक तो number one, diseconomies of scale. Number two, you have like lack of expertise. Okay, and number three, there is always risk of failure. It tends to increase because now you're going out of your domain into completely different things. So usually they make like different groups of businesses, and then they have a bigger infrastructure to run it also effectively.